The company that used to be called Rareware is now just referred to as Rare, and a lot more has changed than just their name. Yeah, if you remember, there were games that came out, I'm talking like 30 years ago, that are widely considered to be just golden games. I am talking Donkey Kong Country, GoldenEye, Donkey Kong 64, Conker's Bad Fur Day, and of course what you're seeing on the screen right now, Banjo-Kazooie and Banjo-Tooie, my absolute favorites. But you compare that to the games they are making today, and it's kind of like night and day, and depending on your viewpoint, maybe that's a good thing or a bad thing, or, somewhere in between, because Sea of Thieves came out 6 years ago now in 2018, and it has just basically been Rare's one and only game that they've been focusing on since then. And all things considered, it's doing very well. It continues to do well. Given the size of Rare themselves, I do think that it is quite an impressive thing that Sea of Thieves continues to be as popular as it is. So, I'm just looking right now on Twitch, Sea of Thieves has the same viewer count as Halo Infinite. I know that's not comparing it to much. That's not like, League of Legends type numbers. But sometimes there are certain events, and I will see Sea of Thieves definitely, somewhere at the top of the Twitch most streamed page. It's pretty impressive. Now, not counting Rare Replay in 2015, because that was just a big compilation of games, and also not counting Battletoads in 2020, because that was actually mostly developed by, I think they're called D-La-La Studios. It really only had assistance from Rare. So considering all of that, really the last game by Rare was in 2014, 10 years ago. This was a Kinect sports game. Yeah, in the early 2010s, Microsoft had Rare focusing on the Kinect sports games, which started a monumental movement. Obviously, you know how absolutely popular today the Kinect is. I'm obviously joking. That's been dead for 10 years now. And so anyway, here's the thing. 10 years ago, before Sea of Thieves, in 2014, so yeah, 10 years ago, pretty much right when their last Kinect sports game ended, they began development on a little game called Everwild. Now, this game would be announced some years later in summer of 2020 with an announcement trailer. And actually, a little correction here, 2019 was actually when they did the announcement trailer, and then in 2020 there was a little bit more of a detailed trailer. But despite these details, this was kind of just a vague game. The artwork looks cool, and you just kind of see a bunch of nature, and somebody's talking in the background about, kind of vague stuff. And that's kind of it. Nobody really knows, even what kind of game this is. Is this like a survival game? Is it a farm simulator game? Is it like a Minecraft-like game? Nobody really knows. But it looks cool. And Rare, obviously, they've had their questionable times. I'm thinking Banjo-Kazooie nuts and bolts. But overall, it's very exciting whenever Rare has a new project. So naturally, in 2019 or in 2020, if you were seeing this trailer, you were saying, hey, I'm hyped for the next, 2 or 3 years now. I can't wait for this game to come out in, 2022, probably 2023 at the absolute latest, right? Well, no, that did not happen, obviously. It's almost 2025 now. Now, here's the thing. Really, in the past few years, ever since that last trailer in 2020, we've kind of just gotten messages here and there from Rare that are few and far between. In 2021, it was announced that Everwild went through just an entire reboot from the ground up, and at that time, the game was scheduled for approximately 2023, and then later it was stated that it was targeting 2024, and this was an optimistic sort of target, so kind of just, if everything goes according to plan, it will release in 2024, and that's kind of it. And, well, I'm looking at the calendar. I don't know if things are going good with Everwild, but it looks like we have got about 98 hours on the dot for Everwild to come out if they are to make this 2024 goal. So, yeah, I'm thinking that's not happening. But here is the thing. So, on Christmas Day, so just 2 days ago, December 25th, Rare made a surprising Instagram post. Now, I will link this in the description if you want to view it. But it was kind of just a happy holidays from Rare picture, and there was a caption that just kind of said, we're hoping everybody's doing well, and that's it. But the interesting thing about this picture is that it essentially 100% is teasing Everwild. Now, you can tell this because if you watch any of the Everwild trailers, you will know that there is this notable, deer-looking animal with huge, bushy antlers. It kind of reminds me of, the Pokemon that's, the mascot of Pokemon X. I don't know what that Pokemon is called. I looked it up. It is Xerneas with an X. I learned something new today. So, anyway, yeah, that deer is in the picture, and essentially it's just a big picture of, a tree and the deer and a person next to it. That's kind of it. Nothing really to get, super crazy about just by itself if you didn't know anything about Everwild. But knowing what we do know, this is actually very interesting. Because at this point now, it was assumed by by quite a few people, I would say, that this game was possibly abandoned entirely or was on the verge of that. But with this Instagram post, it's very clear that they have no plans of abandoning this project. This is kind of the first glimpse that we have gotten of this game really in years now. I mean, really, ever since that 2020 trailer, we have gotten no new visuals or screenshots or anything from this game. So this is nice to see. I mean, like I said, I don't think this is coming out in 2024, I'm sorry to say. Maybe it will be 2025. I'm guessing probably not, though. Whenever it comes out, though, you know, maybe it's 2027 or whatever. It is very clear that, as of right now, Rare has all intentions of working on this game, developing it, and eventually releasing it. They are not abandoning Everwild. Though they did not mention the game by name in the Instagram post, it is pretty much 100% certain that this is an absolute tease of Everwild. So in my opinion, I think now at this point we do know what Rare's next game is going to be after Sea of Thieves.